welcome to the fifth, I believe, Xplan best practice session. So it's surprising that we did the first one of these in April and how time has flown by. So your host today, you got myself, and if you've been on these sessions over the few months, you'll know who I am. And Frankie is rejoining us for this session. So he's been doing some fantastic work in grabbing this agenda together. So let's have a little look about what we're going to go through this morning. So we're going to look at the dashboard that has been developed. This was an item that we put in, which was in beta and is now live. So I think it's an opportune time to revisit that. In our first best practice session, we had a number of questions regarding the new functionality that we put in where you can associate doc notes to policies. So thought that was opportune to cover that functionality, and we've just released linking the ability to link threads, multiple threads to a policy. So those two kind of tie in together. So I thought it would be quite useful to go through that. And the opportunities section that we've been developing from over the past few months or so, we thought we'd revisit that because that has lots of functionality that that you can take advantage of. So without further ado, and of course we'll ask any questions, don't save them up to the end. There's a Q&A button down in your bottom Zoom bar, so send the Q&As over as we're going along, and we've also got some time at the end to answer your questions. So what I'll do now is hand over to Frankie, who will take you through those 4 items.
Thanks, Alan. I'll see you get away with the easy part of the introduction. Yeah, so I'm going to be covering a few things, as Alan said, the dashboard, linking policies to documents or doc notes, threads, linking to policies, and then we'll cover opportunities. So let's get started. Hope everybody's staying warm. It's about 15 degrees up here, so understandably as a redhead, I'm already struggling. But here we go. So one of my clients, Leonardo DiCaprio, you might have seen previously, and it'll be more prominent now, we started developing a dashboard, not the at a glance dashboard, the one that currently sits, unless you've moved it, under key information here. We see it as probably a new landing page where you can get quite a bit of information as soon as you head into a client record. And we'll chat through it and see what it shows us. So to start with, you have quite a bit of information at or present as soon as you look at it, who the advisor is, administrator, and some of these things are, or some of the fields are configurable. We'll cover that in a minute, but gives you net worth, funds under management, which is all quite handy. The good thing is it gives you active workflow. So if you have opportunities that are in flight, it gives you them here. Cases as well, although you'd be lucky to have 11 cases on the go for a client, and overdue tasks. And you can click into these to be taken to them, which is pretty good. Also in the dashboard, and there are a number of things here, you have the ability to add quick notes or a lot of quick elements. So notes, you can just fire in, hit add quick note, choose the default type and subtype, which is controllable as a default in settings, and I'll show you that in a minute. Again, you can also do the same with appointments. Just add in your text. You'll see here that as part of the quick way of adding these, you will, it automatically goes to whoever the clients are. tasks again as well. You can add a ad hoc task with a type, subtype, and emails. If you wish to do so, you can also, from this screen, sometimes you want to add more information, or you want to add a note that's available for client online access, things like that. You can click to expand it here, full note. And you'll get the pop-up allowing you to do everything that you usually do in a normal note had you went through it via the docs and notes section on the left-hand side. Also, on this dashboard, again, very good, it's all just there right in front of you as soon as you land on the page. You have activity. Now you have activity for the same elements that you have in the quick add areas, but it's telling you what's coming up next. What have you recently completed? And essentially what is going on. There's a number of things depending on what you're looking at here that you can view. So for example, a task, you can look at comments that were added. If it was a document note with an attachment, you can click on that and open the attachment, downloads it straight to the desktop. And it's very handy. Now you also have the ability here, if there's something that you want to keep prominent or something you want to keep your eye on, you can pin from here as well, and irrespective of what is going on. So you'll see next, and as they move, this item will be pinned for you and immediately apparent there. Now, I'll go on to settings in a second because I think there's a good thing we can do there, but at the top here, you have immediate access to notes, to contact details even, their address. You can click on the email, phone number to either, if you click on this, for example, as a number, it will give you the option to launch or pick an app to make a call from. So if you have Skype or other services, you can do there. We also have Launch Prime button straight from this dashboard, which is quite handy. To be honest, I didn't know that was there until I was looking at this yesterday, so it's very good. It takes you straight into the discovery dashboard for that. And now settings. There are a couple of things you can change here. Well, primarily one thing you can change, which are some of the fields that you can see on the tab at the front there. Now, you can go in, just search for a field, add it, label it however you want. I know certainly, and as I was going through and testing this and viewing it, one of the things that I was looking for when I was a client was the ability to have a prominent, maybe a marker, or if you've got a client that wants you to repeat a password to ensure you're speaking to the right person, who want to note them as high value, things like that, that are prominent. I'd probably be looking to be putting that on that page as well, because I know previously you were almost trying to squeeze it into next to the name on the screen. So in a nutshell, that is dashboard. I would certainly recommend making it your landing page. You get a lot of information straight away, and you can do a lot of things from here as well.
So a couple of questions, Frankie, that's come in. So if you pin, say, for example, a document, does it stay pinned for all users or just that specific user?
Very good question.
It is a very good question.
And I'm not sure. I've only ever tried it myself, so but we can check that.
So I think it's at user level, but what we'll do is we'll give it a little test and we'll see how that works. So we'll give that a go and feedback. So next one is the dashboard something we have to build, or is it standard in a particular version? So the answer to that is it is standard functionality within Xplan. This was released, I would say, around 6 months ago. So what I suggest you do, if you're not on auto upgrade, then you have to chat through with your account manager about getting onto that, because as we release in functionality, we do a weekly upgrade over the weekend out of hours, and that means that you will then get all this functionality coming through onto your Xplan system, so you're not going to miss out on anything if that's not already on your system. So next one, Frankie, is it possible to get bespoke fields coming through up there onto the dashboard?
Some, yeah. So you have the option to add in a series of, let's add a random one here. And it appears here. So you've got up to 5 that can be configured. This is why I was saying that if you do have a client, I know certainly when I was a client speaking with our end users or clients, we were looking to maybe include a password or something prominent. You could always use previously sticky notes, but I didn't find that they were the best. And certainly you almost had to expand them sometimes and anybody could kind of edit them. But yeah, you can up to 5 fields in there.
Cool. So
which you can add and remove as and when.
Lovely.
Suits.
Nice one. Okay, next one, mate. Is there a restriction to the amount of fields that you can add on the screen? So yes, there is. There is 5.
Yep.
Are settings per client or one set to all clients? So if you configure within the settings, that will display in any client's fact find. Wanted to zoom in.
Let's just double check.
And here we will have the answer. Yes,
yep.
It is. It is across all clients rather than just one particular one. And final question that we got, oh no, second to last question, one's just come in. Can you have different settings globally for different access levels or staff?
No, I don't believe so. Not from what I've seen so far, but again, we could check that. Going back to the point on pinning, if you pin it in a client, it pins it for anybody that goes in and views that client.
Oh, okay.
I've just got somebody to test that. So
cool. That is for all users then. Nice. Yeah. Cool. So you can't add it globally for different access levels. Yeah, that does make sense because there's not a group setting
there's
on
nothing
that for the hierarchy.
So that,
it will be across the board. I don't have a settings button on my dashboard. How do I get it? Michelle, we're going to have to look at you in particular to see what it is. My view is that it will probably be capability based.
Yeah.
So I've got a note of that. How do you make this dashboard default when you open a client record? That is a very good question.
You can do that through interface. So whoever has access can move it. So I can show you very quickly. So
again, the user will need access to the interface.
Yeah, there will be someone who can control it, and it could be moved. So yeah, be whoever your administrator is, or if you don't have one, maybe raise it with support or something like that, and we can give you a hand.
Cool.
But yeah.
If bespoke, does this need to be added? This is not showing. It's not showing main.
What's that? Sorry.
If this is bespoke, does this need to be added? But it's not showing in main. All right, Lorna, we'll have a look at that. It seems quite specific, so we will get back to you on that one. Cool. Right, Frankie.
Thanks.
We've got a couple of outstanding questions there, but we'll come back to them. Do you want to go on to your next little section?
Yeah, no worries. Good questions there. So we'll look at linking documents or doc notes to policies now. So within, and obviously the setup will be different for everybody depending on where you're looking, but the functionality will be the same. It's just wherever you store your documents you'll be going to. If you hit add here, as you were going to add any sort of note, I'll just pick a random one here. Under associations, you now have the ability to link a product. So if you click link product, these are just all test products we've got in this test client, so it's a bit messy, but you do have the ability to link this policy to whatever, or this note to whatever document you see fit. So if it's like an application or information coming in from a seed and scheme and things like that, and you want to make sure they're associated, you can do so by clicking OK. And you can link it to multiple policies, which is pretty good. Now, if I save and close that, and we'll go in and have a look at that under the client record. So traditionally, you would go in and you'd look and you'd try to find maybe in a case manager, there's a bunch of documents, but you might be working in several policies, or you're looking through document notes trying to figure out, well, which document is maybe linked to a policy in general. Let's have a look. Where's the one I just linked it to? So if you click edit on the policy, we'll give it a second. So you're going into the policy, you're viewing the policy, you want to check the details, and you want to go, oh, I'd like to know what documents were associated with this when we sold the policy, or anything like that at all. You can, on the left-hand side here, click on notes, and true Blue Peter fashion, I linked one yesterday, but there's also the one I linked today, where you can go on and view the note from here to see the association, which I think is pretty good, very useful piece of functionality. So it's yeah, that's decent.
So how do you see that then, Frankie? Some things like application forms.
Yeah, application forms. Like it could be honestly anything. Seed and scheme letters, draft suitability reports, all that kind of stuff. You can, if it's policies that already exist with other providers that you're bringing across, it could be seed and scheme letters, things like that. Or if it's a new policy that you're selling as part of your proposition, it could be application forms, you know, maybe letters of authority, all that kind of stuff, depending on where you're going. But yeah, cool. It's pretty good. And again, if you go back at any point while the link persists, you can go in and you can click on the note again, and you'll see what the association is.
So that's came from direct user feedback from a number of users that have been asking for that.
Yep, so a few months ago, I know certainly at the start of the year, I was getting asked about it by some of my clients. Yeah, and it was involved in the testing of this, so it was pretty good. Although it's nice to see Leonardo DiCaprio has an ASDA scheme.
You wish. Right. So Dave Clinton, the man in the sun, long time no speak, Dave. So is the Xmerge code available for linking policies to document notes? And what a very good question. I don't know, but we'll find out.
Sure, we'll find out. Yeah.
That is a good one. There's quite a few questions here about people not having the settings option within the dashboard. So what we'll do is we'll take a
I'll double check that. Yeah.
It's undoubtedly a capability that you don't have. So we'll look into what that is, and we'll let you know which cap it is, so that you can then enable that and then see it. So we'll come back to each of you on that. I've got a note of all these here, so we absolutely we'll have a chat through on that one, as well as the Xmerge one. Dave, that is a good one. It will be one that I didn't know. So what's the difference between this? I'm assuming we're talking the doc note association and the portfolio account section within the is portfolio accounts going to be removed? No, portfolio accounts isn't going to be removed. We see them as two separate areas.
Absolutely. It's in part also for anybody that's to go in and view at any stage what was associated, because it will move between teams. Not everybody will look at portfolio accounts. It's just somewhere that you can go in and see the immediate link with minimal effort.
Absolutely. Generally, you could probably go into the asset to find out more detailed information about it rather than going into on the portfolio accounts, which just shows that the investment data. Cool. Right. There's quite a few. There's quite a few here. So let's have a little look. Is a flag available in the asset list view to show if there is one or more documents linked to the product?
Not at the moment. No. You would go in and just view and look at notes to see any of the associations. I mean, again,
good
even
shout,
yeah, that's a good bit of feedback. It'd be useful to see if there is a link.
Yeah, it would be.
Probably take a note of that. And back,
it's a good one. We will. We'll take that. I like that one, Ryan. Good shout. Okay. Is there a way to view all notes associated to a policy within the standard document note screen, not have to go through the policy?
No, I don't believe so. You'd have to. You'd be looking at it as an individual note level, or you can view them all via the policy, any associated with that policy from within the policy itself. I'm not sure I'd expect to see that, to be honest, as a bit of functionality, but it would be good to understand.
Good to dig into it a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we do have other, like, notes, for example, link to other things, not just policies, and we certainly don't display all of them. So I'm not sure we would do that for this. But if there's a good enough reason for it and something you think is beneficial, feed it back, and we can always fire it into the team.
Yep, definitely. Cool. Is it possible to click through from product to document notes and vice versa? No, you can only open up for the specific document note that's been associated, not flicking between the two. But again, I think.
What was the question there? It was.
Is it possible to click through from the product, i.e., the policy, to the document notes section, and go back and forth? So flip from doc notes into.
Not necessarily, but you can add other notes from within here. I wonder if that makes an automatic association. It doesn't. So technically, if you're having to go back to that area to do something, like add a new note, or if you're in this and you know there's a note that you now want to link, you can do that from here.
Okay, cool. Can you link pre-existing notes? Yes.
Yep.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you
can go into the association area.
You go into the product and go to notes, and you can link existing note.
Yep. Okay.
Or you can obviously do it from within the area itself and just go in and add the association if the note already exists. So.
Okay. So our documents now link into group plans. I requested this thought it would go into development. So we've tested it as part of this project against policies, but we will get an answer to that one as to whether you can put it onto group plans. My view is I would imagine so, but let's check it out. Sorry, Frankie, you carry on, and I'll have a look on one of my test sites.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so where were we? Linking doc notes. So yeah, you can go into a policy and view what's linked to it, and you can also, from documents, go in and view a particular note and see if there is an association there or not. Although good feedback on being able to see if there is an association without having to go into it. We'll feed that back. So next, we have the ability to, if we go into policy, link multiple threads. And hi to Dave Clinton, by the way. I'm not sure he's in sunny Malta anymore. He's working from the UK. But although I'm pretty sure he's getting Maltese heat at the moment. So.
Yeah, well, you don't really need to be over Malta at the minute, do you?
No. Okay, so just a handy piece of functionality. I thought it was worthwhile covering. Let me just have a look. There is the ability to add, as I say, multiple threads and a link to multiple threads from within a policy. So you can go in, edit where you previously, and I know certainly, I'm probably banging the client drum here, but previously I did look for the ability to add multiple, because we had policies that forked off into threads that forked off into different teams and didn't necessarily stay within the same thread. So if we had report writing teams, sales support, things like that, we were always looking to create multiple associations there. So you can click here and hit add multiple threads. Say yes. And if we give it a second. Here are some that I added earlier, but you can disassociate by doing like so, or you can, excuse me, look at existing threads, and that one's already associated, so it's giving me an error. But if I do this, you can create multiple links there, which is quite handy. And then you get a kind of the whole picture when reporting on it, which is pretty good. It's just a minor thing, but it's very useful, and I think it's quite powerful to be looking at.
Yeah, definitely. We do see people kicking off multiple threads as part of that advice process. So,
Yeah.
you know, so for example, like a review, and then some new business can come off the back of it.
We're going to say just kicking off for not having it. Well, we have it
now. Right. So back to group plans and document notes association. I've just tested it on the latest version, and there is now the ability to associate documents to group plans, Helen. So your development is completed there, and that will be in your live version. So next question, Frankie, this is what we were talking about yesterday afternoon when we were looking at this. Can you go back and link a completed thread to a policy?
I'm not too sure. Were we talking about this yesterday? I'm not joking. Yeah, I can't actually remember. I need to double check it. So
I don't think you can. I think you can only link threads that have been activated.
Yeah, I can test that in a minute, and when we go through the Q&A and confirm back.
I'll try now. I'm at 95%.
My on-hand assistant will check that out for us.
So you said I've got an easy job. I'm doing your testing here. Right. From Anonymous, multiple threads. Is it in a particular version? Yes, it is, and it is the version effective 2 weeks ago. Yes, it's in there. Again, it would be worth having a chat through as to whether you're on the auto upgrade or not, because it sounds like that would add huge value to you rather than doing your upgrades ad hoc.
Yeah. You're taking immediate advantage of these point releases as and when they come out, and you're getting this functionality straight away.
Definitely.
Which is good. But as with everything, there's information on the community as well, which is, to be fair, where I sourced quite a lot as I go through these type of things. So it's good. But maybe worthwhile including the versions when we're adding this to the community best practice section.
Yep, fair shout. I will do that. Okay, so Dave likes the multiple threads. Thank you very much, Dave. Final question, it looks like for the moment. Can you add threads to the policy from the thread screen if you have multiple threads? If you have multiple threads relating to a piece of advice, you need to be able to do it in one place rather than go through each individual policy. Otherwise, it won't get done in a fair shout.
So what was the question there? Can you add multiple threads
to a policy on the thread screen? So that's the first one. So so obviously you go through and activate the thread. Could you link it to the policy there? Is the first one.
Let's have a look. real-time interrogation of it. I don't think so, but
The details.
we'll take it away and check it. Yeah.
No, that's it. That's
no.
good. That's a good one. So
yeah.
So how do I find out if you're on auto upgrade? Okay, Helen will check the internal system to see if you are. I'll have to dig out your firm details, so we'll check that. We'll do that after this call. Okay, Frankie, what
Cool.
final piece of the puzzle then?
Yes, appreciate time is pushing on, so I'll go through opportunities fairly quickly. So we have opportunities in the system. You will have seen them at some point. You would have seen them within the client records or via the opportunities hub here. Now, to add an opportunity, there are multiple ways to do it. You can do it within the existing client record. So if you are in the record, and you can navigate to, or you can just type in opportunities in the quick nav. You can go in and add an opportunity from here. Now, at client level, you can, from within the client record, you can go in and see what opportunities are there, what are in flight, what kind of area are they for, have they completed, and you can also see aborted opportunities from there as well. But yeah, to add an opportunity existing client in one way, you can do it there. Now, you can also do it from within the opportunities hub itself. This is quite useful because you have the ability to add it to an existing client, or you can create a new individual directly from here and add all the detail, well, some of their detail there. Obviously, you go back and populate the rest of the record with anything else that you have, but you can start with a new opportunity for a new client directly from within the hubs area, where you'll be prompted for some of the information. Now, this is the default information that gets captured for it. Templates I'll cover in a second, but, well, in fact, I'll cover it just now. We'll talk about the settings in a second. You can create multiple templates. So if you know you have a specific type of opportunity, you can choose the defaults in some of these, you know, like service, whether it's new advice on go and things like that. If you have that information up front, there's a lot of information you can default automatically just by choosing the template type. You can capture whether it is new, ongoing, what type of objective it is, which you'll see in the client record as well, who the opportunity is assigned to, at what stage. Now, at the point of creating it, you do have the ability to move on. You may be back populating an opportunity, or you're only adding it, but you know it's already at a certain stage. You can do all that here and control the due date. The hubs screen for opportunities, I think, again, is quite powerful because you get an ongoing visual of where all the opportunities are at. Now, depending on the level that you have set against you in your hierarchy or your user access level in the site, you can, for example, a manager have complete overview, or a team manager have complete overview of where everything for your team is, what stage it's at, and you can delve into these further and look at them. You also have the filters at the top here if you want to look at specific opportunities or for particular services, where it came from, particular user groups and all that. So it's or particular users, which is very powerful. So yeah, it's, I think even just from that standpoint, having the visibility as either a manager or an individual is pretty good. As I said, you can add new prospect from here, or you can just add it to an existing user. Opportunities and moving them across this pipeline. Now, I'll come on to the configuration of some of this shortly, but to give you an indication, you can, from this screen, drag an opportunity along. So if you know that it's moving to certain stages, you can move it. And anybody that's familiar with kind of Kanban boards and things like that, it's a similar kind of format. You can shift the opportunity to wherever you think it needs to be, back and forward, which is pretty good. These columns that you see, this is the default. So this is everything that you see from when you first start to look at it, but they are configurable. You don't need all of these columns. Now, I was saying that you can move it, the opportunity. You can also do it as part of a workflow. So if you have an advice process thread or a task and anything like that, and you know by completing the task or the advisor confirming and completing the task that that opportunity is then automatically progressed onto a further stage, you can, this is just a random task, but just to give you an idea, you can from within and set the outcome. You can update the opportunity to move based on, like, if you've completed a fact find or you've went beyond prospecting, for example, you can update the stage, status, outcome, etc. by hitting plus, you know, change the status to stage, what stage are you moving to, so on and so forth. So that's quite good. There's some further functionality in the pipeline. I'll tell you about that in just a second. But it's a very good visual. I've shown it to a few clients. I've obviously got some that are interested and some who are already using it, and they seem to think it's quite powerful. A lot of people pull information, put them into dashboards and things for leads and progression and stuff like that, but here we're doing it directly into Xplan, which is very good. So,
a couple of questions, Frankie.
Yes.
Can't speak. Would it be possible to hide the option to create new clients? I think you get into that.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can stop users having the ability to create a new client.
Cool. Okay, Joseph. So we'll come to that in 5. So can a case or thread be linked to an opportunity? You kind of just covered that.
Yeah, but I'll come into that in a second as well on the settings. The adding, in fact, I probably should have mentioned it already, the adding an opportunity can kick off a case, thread, task, etc. But I'll show you how that works.
So we'll address those two. And can you use opportunities without automatically opening Case Manager?
Yeah, you can just, you just don't add the association, you know, that's definitely.
Yeah. I guess that would make sense if the prospect isn't a client yet. So yeah, cool.
So I'll show you probably the last bit anyway, before giving you some information on some of the things that are coming. You have some functionality here to control the columns that you view. So as you're going across the journey, not everybody will use all of these. You have the ability to change or remove some of the stuff that you're showing, and it'll update that in real time. I'll just put them back in. You also, you can control some of the defaults, what stage it's at, you know, some of these basic defaults here, which is pretty good. And you can default the quick notes, you know, to what is well, just a default note, and you can go in and change it. But some of the site settings, this is the one that whoever asked the question, you would remove. So this is controllable, so not everybody can access the area. So you need to grant permissions in order to do so, but you can control who has the ability to add new prospects as part of opportunities. Because I know certainly some of my clients do, but they like to control the way in which opportunities or leads come in to the business, and having random people creating random prospects.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense because you don't want a load of duplicates in there, do you?
Yeah, exactly. But absolutely. Now, come on to the other question: can you associate a case, thread, etc. with? So yes, you can. It'll kick off a case and a thread if you wanted to do so. But equally, if you don't want it to do anything like that, well, it's already set, but you can do that as well. And some of these settings you can control at group level. I know somebody asked that about the dashboard. I would think logically that then kind of shows that we'll maybe get that functionality, but I think we're taking that one away anyway. And templates, which I showed you earlier. So there's one here where the defaults are set. You can add, I'll just call it Frankie, change some of the defaults in here, new. So you have that so that when you go to create an opportunity, well, you see the existing one is ongoing. Hopefully when I change this, it changes it to the default of new. So pretty good, as I said. I know I've said it like 3 times already, but it is a very good visual. I think it's quite powerful, and it's definitely worth exploring if you aren't already. I'd certainly been using it if I was still a client. Just to give you a bit of insight into some of the things that are covered, one of these will probably suit Dave Clinton again. There is going to be the ability to add opportunities as part of a workflow. I believe that's coming in 20.8.130. So very soon, if it's not out already, I've not checked before this, but you're going to be able to kick off new opportunities directly from a workflow, so you can choose an outcome to create opportunity, and it'll take you through that and give you that ability. Coming soon, the Xmerge, the ability to Xmerge opportunities out is on its way. So we'll pull that data. I'll just correct myself because I'm sure I've got one of those bits wrong in terms of the ability to create opportunities is coming soon. So disregard what I said there. I'll just correct it just now before we get a tirade of emails for people saying Frankie said this functionality is there and it's not. I'll rework this entire section. Coming soon is opportunities from outcomes, not too distant future, as well as the ability to Xmerge out what has been built and is available from 20.8.130 is the ability to access it via the API. So they're resourceful endpoints and things there, which will be there for you to utilize once you upgrade or take that version.
Cool.
So that is
Okay.
it. And opportunities, there's a lot there. Go in, if you've got a test site or even live, just go in with a test client, try it out. There's a lot more to it, but also we just had a short window. Just simple things like checking activity, editing, and creating quick notes like you can do from the dashboard is all there as well.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And that is it. Any questions?
Yes. So, Michelle, you don't seem to have the section at all. Yeah, that's quite odd. So we'll look into why that is. So we'll get myself, Frankie, and or your AM will reach out to you on that one.
Yeah.
Is it possible to add new columns in opportunities?
You can only remove at the moment.
Yeah.
So you can get rid of columns.
To be honest,
I've been asked that before.
Yeah.
Certainly, we can't add them, but I know people have repurposed them, at least in the time being, until functionality comes along where you can add your own columns.
Yeah, I currently see people probably taking them away because there's quite a lot in there. Rather than adding them, it might be potentially the ability to rename more than anything. Rename columns, right? Okay, no, you can't. But yeah, it's something we've heard before.
You can remove them, or it depends who's looking at it. If you've got a manager and you've not got advisors looking at it, I've got a client who has repurposed them. It might say proposition, but the section is being used for something else just now.
Yeah, and if you export them out, then equally you can then just rename the column. So
well,
that could be
good shout. Good shout, Alan.
Okay. So multiple users not having the opportunity section, which is quite odd. Again, if you haven't got it, then we'll look into why that is. You certainly should have it.
We'll include versions for things, I think, in best practice, so that might rule some of the questions out, but we can take it away.
Cool. So yeah, and we'll take away rename as well. It's something we've heard quite frequently. Right. Cool. Frankie, you got to the end of your session there, so good stuff. And 1 minute, 1 minute in front, so not bad. So now we've got the Q&A. We've answered quite a few of the Q&As during this session, but if you have got any questions, then do start firing them in. We'll stay online for the next 5-10 minutes or so, but if you haven't got any questions, then thanks very much for attending, and thanks for your time. There's another session on the 27th of August, which is going to be focused on the data feeds functionality of Xplan. So we do get lots and lots of questions regarding data feeds. So if that is of interest, then do register for that session. And because we've got the data feeds expert in Aaron Greenhill, who's going to be joining me. We're going to give Frankie a little bit of a rest in the next few weeks. But if further ado, yeah, if you've got some questions, fire them in and we'll just answer them. If not, I hope you have a great day, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, and anything that you don't immediately think of, honestly, shout to your account manager. I don't mind answering questions, so I'm sure they won't either.
No, we do generally answer quite a lot of them. Thank you, Trevor, for your feedback. That's really good. So we've got a question here, Frankie, from Shelley. You don't have anything spoken about so far. Auto upgrade works. So said it had them for a long time. Okay.
Shelley, so what's the? Let me have a look. What does it say? Okay, I can have a chat with you about that. The functionality is there. It could just be hidden. But I do know you're a few versions behind, and we're looking to add you to auto upgrade anyway, so that'll be resolved by that, Shelley. But yeah, let's pick up offline.
Cool.
We'll get you sorted.
Yeah, I think auto upgrade is very sensible all day long, quite honestly. Okay, I think that's probably the. Oh no, he says that, and then a load of questions comes in. Right, can you rename columns within the opportunities if you go to field definitions and go to the stage field within the thread group?
Oh no, that's actually telling us you can rename them.
Yeah.
Good to know. So,
we'll test that.
Yeah, we'll double check it.
We'll test that, but cheers for that. Very good.
And Gillian will have a look at that as well, I think.
Yeah, quite a lot of users haven't got that. So I think there's questions regarding auto upgrade and caps here as well, which is quite surprising. So Helen, yes, I'll speak to you later about auto upgrade and account management. Not a problem. Cool. All right, the user numbers are going down slowly, Frankie. Okay. We've got one final question, but we don't have opportunities under key informations, but we are a bespoke site, not off the shelf. Does that make a difference? No, it's just standard Xplan functionality, Lorna. You should have it as long as you're on the relevant version. So we'll find out the minimum version where opportunities was released, and also it doesn't matter whether you're bespoke site or not, because as long as it's not hidden in the interface, it's just standard Xplan functionality. Right, so yes, okay. I think user numbers are literally attendees are right down, Frankie. So I think we'll call it. There. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.